that was a laser. I mean, that was an unbelievable shot.
Your music, music, Carl, you're now going to use 9E.
Oh, at the very beginning?
Okay.
Fine with me, I'm here all night, so,
Just want you to know.
thank you. 9E.
Yeah, it's fine. It'll be 9C capital. Does that sound good? All right. Try not to mess
Yeah,
that
it
up.
was up until the print.
Oh. I was like, that's funny, I didn't hear anything. There was from some words. Oh, she said night.
Can you ask me a question? We had a district meeting. Yeah. Yeah. So.
I know sometimes
Yeah.
everybody else
Right.
sometimes. Just never know.
Yep. Oh, that's awesome, thank you. Well, good.
Oh, yeah,
Not coming? Well, part of Jen will not be played by me.
Dun, dun, dun.
I now have leg room. Feel free to last
Yes, sir.
until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
It'd be
I've done it twice.
Cause I got another group
Sitting in
coming
the
next
dark.
week and
Next week?
yeah,
We'll sweat,
or
we'll,
I think it's like 2 days.
we'll freshen it up.
Do it.
Yep, yep.
I also.
Well, the second half of this will be
Budget presentation.
sucks getting old.
She's big house.
She's working on that right now. I'm just gonna sit here and point.
Hey, we can turn our mics on.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Monday, February 23rd, 2026 council meeting. Roll call, Councilor Kelly is absent, all other councilors are present. Would you like to do the invocation this evening?
Absolutely. If everybody would please join me in being the attitude of prayer. We pray for our country at all times, that all citizens are safe, healthy, and happy. We pray for wisdom for all those who guide and govern. Help this government body in every situation to know and to do the things that are right and just with soundness of judgment in making vital decisions. We pray for the peacemakers, that the holy life-giving spirit may ever dwell in their hearts, and the barriers of fear, suspicion, and hatred may fall. This we pray to the Holy Father. Amen.
Amen. Now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 is our declaration of conflict of interest. Is there anyone who would like to declare one at this time? Seeing none, we will move on to item 5, public forum. For any member of the public who wishes to speak tonight. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to item 6, which are minutes that we need to approve from the January 26, 2026 regular city council meeting and the February 9th meeting. Everyone had a chance to look those over?
I'll move this way.
I have a correction on this one, and it's just a spelling. Is that a big deal? Can I give it to you later? Do you want it now?
It still needs to be.
On, yeah, it's just my last name. On, yeah, on page 11.
Anything else?
I'll move the You want to make an adjustment on that?
Move the slate with, you want me to make a motion? Make a motion to move the slate with the one amendment to page 11, spelling clerical for Lovewell to be spelled Lovewell.
Oh, wow.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Knight Fair?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Yes.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 7 is bid openings, awards, and appointments. We do have one item there, and that is 7A, appointments to boards and committees, and this is for the Voter Registration Board of Appeals. This is on page 14 of your packet. Has everyone had a chance to look at this? Okay.
Yes.
What are the wishes of the council?
Motion to appoint Chris Wyden, Gary Thompson, and Jane Farron to the Voter Registration Board of Appeals with a term ending on December 31st, 2027.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Knight Fair?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Fine.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 8 is public hearings and possible action items, and we do have a public hearing this evening for community development block grant for BVR theme park. That's on page 17 of your packet. Penny, do you want to give a little background on this? And we'll open the hearing.
So the community development Block Grant Program administered by the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development and by the Department of Economic and Community Development in Maine supports projects that benefit low and moderate income persons and jobs and addresses urgent community needs. Through the allocation with DECD, the City of Caribou is allowed one Community Development Block Grant Program award each year, and for the 2025 award funding, the City has worked with Travis Bernash of BEEVR Theme Park on Sweden Street to submit an application that will support 2 low to moderate income jobs in Caribou. Our process to date has been, during the fall, city staff worked with Mr. Bernash and our partners at Northern Maine Development Commission to submit a preliminary application of our intent to apply to DECD for a Community Development Block Grant, Economic Development Program Grant. In January, the city received notification from DECD that upon review of the application, we were formally invited to apply for the Economic Development Program Grant in the amount of $50,000, which would support 2 full-time equivalent jobs for low to moderate income individuals. Under the Community Development Block Grant rules, the city must hold a public hearing and provide municipal legislative body approval for the grant. And staff is happy to provide additional clarifications and answer any questions if the city council has any.
Thank you so much, Penny. So I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing at 6 p.m. Mr. Bernash is also here. If anybody should have questions, Mr. Bernash, did you want to speak?
No, almost not, unless anybody has questions.
Okay. Any questions? Anyone in the audience that has questions?
is it not connecting?
The Wi-Fi is not active.
No.
Any comments from the council?
Oh.
No. All
Okay.
good.
Go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:07 p.m. What are the wishes of the council?
To approve any and all actions to apply for and receive the Community Development Block Grant Economic Development Program grant for BEEVR Theme Park located at 284 Sweden Street.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Knight Fair?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Yes.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
You're all set. we'll finish everything up tomorrow. Thank you. No.
All right, item 9 is reports by staff and committees. I am going to add another little section on here. So we are going to include a report from the Capital Committee, which will be under 9C. But Councilor Bagley, you can begin with 9A with the Caribou Development Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So you have in your packets written reports related to the Caribou Development Committee meeting that we held on the 18th of February and the Airport Advisory Committee on 10 February. The CDC met on 18 February, discussed a lot of things. Specifically, they've been focusing on ideas to refurbish and reuse the vacant property at 63 Sweden Street, and I think you've heard some of those ideas already. We will not be presenting anything during executive session tonight, as we had thought. The second item that they've been focusing on is a concept to develop new housing out at the Brook Street area. It's a rather large city-owned lot that's pretty much accessible, and it has water sewer there already. It could be easily developed into a housing area. So stay tuned for more on that. Their next meeting will be on March 18th, and the public is invited to attend. On the 10th of February, the Airport Advisory Committee met, and they have been discussing and are planning for several events during this coming year, primarily during the summertime, including fly-ins and breakfasts and those kinds of things. They're planning on something to in conjunction with the Maine Potato Blossom Festival.
Oh, neat.
So it'll be, I think it's intended to be part of the festival, somehow connected or associated with that. So that'll be good. Get a lot of people up at the airport. They're also planning a series of educational seminars, which is, I think, is a really neat idea to bring in pilots from the surrounding area to talk shop and talk flying and to talk experiences and those types of things. They do have a Facebook page available now, so that's the link is listed in the report here, and it's in the packet. Go take a look. It's starting to get active, and there's several posts that are starting to populate on that Facebook page. They also talked, and we had a long session during our last meeting, just brainstorming all different ideas for development in the future of the airport. There's a whole list of things. You can tell these guys, they're imaginative, creative, they're committed, and they are thinking of a lot of neat things and neat ways to expand our operations and increase the value of the airport to the city. So of all of these initiatives, I kind of recognized there was a little bit of a disconnect between what they were talking about and what the development committee was talking about. So I encouraged them to coordinate with the development committee, make sure their ideas were flowing into kind of the overall big picture strategy for the city. And so that'll be happening as well. Their next meeting is 10 March. And again, the public is invited to attend up at the airport. That's it, thanks.
Does anyone have questions for Councilor Bagley or anything based on what Councilor Bagley presented that anyone would like to discuss?
I just have a question about the trailer park, or the former trailer park. Is that already in the hands, is that already part of the airport committee? So is that what you guys are kind of looking at, maybe?
It is, and they're thinking possibly an adjunct industrial park that's aviation-related type businesses. They also talked about the idea of a helipad, locating a helipad over there.
That would be very cool.
That would
Not a bad idea.
expand the operations.
So there's a lot of funds kind of just hanging out, and I know that we still have some expense to that trailer, the former trailer park, but it
Very
looked like,
little, it's like a light bill.
So there's something like I want to say like $43,000 or something. So can that be kind of utilized in some way to
So
fund
those, if they were generated by the mobile home park, then they would be considered airport funds, because
So
that's
that's
the
kinda cool.
airport.
Yeah, probably the biggest use for that trailer park area, or the prominent idea, is to build more hangar space. Because we have very limited
Absolutely.
hangar space. Presque Isle has none there, and we have a waiting list. They have a waiting list. And so I can see new hangars going up there in the area where the hangars are now, and maybe extending down into that trailer park
What
area.
is the cost of a hangar, just out of curiosity? Do you have any idea? I mean, is that like,
Some numbers were thrown around. Do you remember, Petty? Like, it's, I wouldn't even dare to say publicly. I'm sorry.
that's okay, no, I just thought maybe you knew, but curious, but I have heard.
We
yeah,
did
that
initially
some
months
money.
ago. We looked and came up with some numbers on a square footage basis, but I don't remember what those numbers were.
Yeah.
But I can get that to you.
Well, it's nothing pressing, but I just think it's interesting. I know that I've heard it a number of times, so.
I think some other things that have been brought up in the past too are, can we think of some businesses that would be more businesses affiliated with an airport that we
Correct.
could kind of attract
Yeah,
to that area?
that
I
is
think
true.
one of the tricky parts is because of some of the requirements of being that in close of proximity to the runways and things like that. I think that we have to be careful with what we put there, but I think
Yeah.
it's worth looking at.
Yeah, for sure.
That was the question I was going to bring up, or not a question, but in the past, we looked at using that for some other opportunities, and the FAA said, no, it has to be related somehow to the aviation industry. So that's,
I know we talked a lot about the Jet A1 fuel too, but I think one of the challenges with that is how expensive it is and how expensive it is to keep those storage tanks for that type of fuel. So I think until we can expand more, I don't know that we would be able to put something like that there, but it's something to think about down the road maybe.
And there would be certification requirements as well imposed on our staff to manage all of that. So, again, these are kind of visionary things for the future, and
Yeah.
they're not in any priority order, but I've encouraged them to prioritize them, coordinate back with the development committee, and get your capital requests into staff if they have any.
And speaking of capital committee, or excuse me, the development
segue.
committee, is there, not that yet, anything anyone wanted to talk about regarding the report on the development committee? Good? Okay. Well then, yes, let's go ahead and move to 9C, which would be an update on the capital committee.
yes, a third of 3 meetings. We met I believe last Friday. I think everybody saw the proposal that went out on the email. Jennifer and Lori and myself met together. A few big, I just talk about a couple of them because I'm going to save a lot of this maybe potentially for the budget committee meeting.
A budget workshop?
The budget workshop.
Yeah,
excuse
okay,
me.
good. That's what I was going to suggest as well.
I'll just talk about a couple of big things here. The ladder truck, obviously. We're looking at putting that out. It's over $500,000. We're looking at putting that out hopefully in November to see what the voters choose. I think we need to word it very correctly to make sure that, do we need a new ladder truck? Maybe we do. We'll leave that up to the charter committee, or I would recommend that we leave that to the charter committee. So that's one of the reasons that was out. Go down through. We didn't get rid of any of the equipment. The bottle, the bunker, those things. We need those. Cruiser replacement. That's what I'll talk about. Is apparently we have one cruiser didn't pass inspection. We decided to fund one cruiser and not the other, and with hopes of potentially looking into leasing. And there was some movement around there. Otherwise, I think we can have a pilot program here. It works well in other towns. I know Chief Saucier's been working with some lease. Just because it works somewhere else doesn't mean it works for us. But I think we could have a pilot program and pick up maybe one vehicle or even two on that. So, and then the rest of the stuff, and I'd save that for the. Any questions on it? I think everybody saw it. Any questions on where we went with
Just the very first item, I see that the committee came back with a recommendation of double the
Yep.
request, and just maybe a real quick.
Yep, absolutely. That's the only one that we, the committee wanted to increase. There's some issues out front here. We haven't done anything probably here since 2016, 17, whenever we did the makeover here. There's some safety, office safety, lot of voting coming in now, so we thought that was appropriate to, and some of that is a roof here.
Does this include the doors? I know we talked about the doors. Is that already done and squared away, or is that going to be included in this
So
fund?
when we went out for bid to do the ADA doors, they were able to use the doors we had. So we didn't have to get new doors.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I missed that somehow.
Yep. So we have the ADA compliant
Very cool.
doors, and we're going to be doing the sidewalk project next, just as soon as the weather gets nicer. So that will all
When we
be
can see the sidewalk.
better also for ADA compliance.
Yeah, there were some questions about the clerks. Danielle spoke about it before, some safety concerns with the fact that we're going to have all these voters coming in now. It's become a big thing, so we need to make some adjustments out there. So we thought it was appropriate to do that. How we're going to do that, we'll leave that up to the building committee to look into that, but we thought it was appropriate to put that money in there. So.
Got it.
And the rest of these, I think, are pretty. They're pretty conservative. So we initially started with 2.2 million. Trace's the committee recommended 947,000. Our mill rate 1 year ago was 503,472. There's other things that affect our mill rate, so that I don't want anybody to panic or hit the panic button or anything. I mean, this 1.88 just represents, I believe, represents what that was. So we're not going to go up 1.88. So don't hit the panic button. So that's just thought there was some good information in there. And we can talk more about that. If anybody has any questions, ask them.
Just, I had the same observation that Tamara did about the 50,000, but on that particular line, I'd like to see for the workshop, I'd like to see those projects laid out with the due dates and the amounts. The capital plan overall has come along very, very well, and we have a really good sense now of what everything is going to and where the needs are. So that was the one thing. The other thing I wanted to, as an observation, a lot of these capital accounts already have significant balances in them.
Correct.
And I think that we have the opportunity this year to forego a lot of these requests this year because the capital accounts are already funded and have balances sitting there to use. And so I think during the workshop we should look at that and see where it makes sense to do that. In some cases it wouldn't, because if you're just starting installments to plan for something for the future, that's one thing. But if you're planning on buying something this year or next year, I mean, a lot of cases, I think I figured there's $1.3 million sitting in, at least $1.3 million sitting in those capital accounts right now as a balance. So there's a lot to draw from there, but we'll save that for the workshop.
Absolutely. So,
Okay.
Questions on?
Anything further? Okay. Item 9D will be an update on the Caribou Public Library project bid. And so Peter Baldwin is here, and we also have Matthew Carter on Zoom. Peter, why don't you go ahead and you can get started.
Good afternoon. So on February 17th, we met here in the City Council chambers at 2 p.m. for the opening of bids for the library renovation project. At the time of bid opening, we had 2 potential bidders. I have listed those in your packets in the memo, the exact details. There are 3 ad alternates. So you have the base bid for each one. Ad alternate 1, which was the addition of firelight glass on of the stairwell that they are putting in for fire safety. At alternate 2, which is the construction of the canopy on the west side entrance of the building, and at alternate 3, which is the curator's office. And there's also the addition of the duration, proposed duration of the project itself. So far going forward, we met earlier today to discuss potential changes to this, which include priorities specifically on the project duration, looking towards sort of moving down the duration of the project to be a bit more in line with our proposed timeline for the initial. It looks like, did you provide this to the
No.
council? Okay. There have been a few proposed adjustments from a contractor about things that could reduce not only the cost of the project, but also the timeline itself that we're currently looking forward to, but we should have a more comprehensive listing of those, of more changes by the end of the week.
Are you talking to both bidders or just the one?
I'm talking with the architect.
Okay, so.
Oh,
he-
I think
he-
he's,
We
oh,
can't
we
hear
can't
you.
hear you, Matt.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, we've been talking with the low bidder because that is usually how we do it.
Sure. No, just wanted to clarify. That's what I understood, but I wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yes. So this time we do have 2 bidders, and we've been working with the low bidder to sort of see if we can bring that number, and especially the duration of the project down to be more in line with the original proposed timeline.
What does the number have to be?
The number itself, originally put forward from the architect Matthew Carter, was around 1.3 projected estimate for the actual contractor cost to be somewhere around that figure. And then there's the additional amounts that are put on there for things like testing, technology. There's a few other sectors in there that I can't name off the top of my head, though Matthew might have a better idea of those other numbers.
And
So
what was
they
the
all-
timeline? Oh, I'm so sorry.
The all-in price, budget is what?
The full budget price is $1.8 million. It's a little north of $1.8
Okay.
million.
And what about the completion time? Because I know that was very sensitive.
Yes.
How much?
Original proposed completion time was August 1st. October 31st is the let's call it the final cutoff date. So that's, we're trying to bring it up to the middle of September.
And how many days is that from March 1st? When we're going to give them authority to proceed or sign the contract?
I don't know how many days it is from then.
I'm just trying to get a sense for how much we have to cut down 243 days
Or 285 days, actually,
I think
to.
for the low bid.
The low bid is
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm
285.
looking at the wrong one. Yes.
Yep. So that 285.
My apologies, 285.
In our meeting earlier today, it was my hope to get it cut down to between 220 and 240 to be better in line with our project.
And that'll put us to the end of August.
That'll put us towards the middle of September, which is where, with the additional timelines of just sort of getting bid acceptance and contract things, that is sort of where we're looking to land at this point.
Highly recommend you build some margin into that.
Yeah. Well,
Because
that's-
you
so
will
that's
have
the month-
delays.
That's a month and a half of
Okay.
margin after the fact.
Because
All right.
October 31st, I think, is the actual deadline.
So that's,
Yep.
so you want to try to shave about 2 months off their proposed.
Yep.
What, have you had any response on that?
So there are a couple of things that we can, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, one of the changes that we're looking at will cut 60 days from the project, this is according to the low bidder. And also, it looks like we've got about another probably another 30 days. So actually, we're able to get 90 days out of it if we accept the cuts that we're talking about doing.
Are you able to talk about what those are, or are those just things that you're working through right now?
If you want me to, I'd be glad to.
He can share his screen. I have it set up.
Oh,
He
yep.
can share the screen if he wants.
I can share my screen. I don't know if you'll be able to see this because, I don't know, my screen's pretty grainy, but anyway, I'll share it. Maybe you can see it. So, again, this is our contractor's first pass at it. His first suggestion was to switch from Anderson windows, which are a composite window, like a fiberglass window, to a vinyl window. That's gonna save 5 days and $5,000. Replace, right now we've specified hardy plank siding for the exterior. And he suggested another product called LP Smart Side, which will save $3,000 and another 5 days. He's also suggested replacing, we have a tongue and groove pine ceiling above the mezzanine, and he's suggesting to do that with strapping and drywall. That'll save $10,500 and 5 days. And then he's also suggested not doing the elevator and using a Lula lift, which actually will probably work pretty well for the project. That'll save $208,000 and 60 days. And then replacing all steel studs on the various walls. This one, we can do part of it, but we can't do it all. But if the suggestion, which is to basically, we've got steel studs in a lot of places. If we go to wood framing, that'll save $11,000 and 15 days, probably a little less than that, because again, some of the outside walls, we're not gonna be able to do that. They have to be non-combustible. But again, this is his first pass and we're looking at it. The last one that makes sense is the bottom one, which is to remove sound absorbing wall panels in the telehealth rooms, and then use drywall instead. $15,000, that's not gonna change the deadline, but if we accept the ones that we're talking about, we're gonna save about $252,500, and also it looks like we would cut 90 days out of the deadline.
I will say, I think that that particular contractor has an excellent reputation, so I think that he probably has a lot of good ideas and good advice. I would be cautious in a telehealth situation to have not soundproof walls, because that's proprietary health information that people are sharing. So just my 2 cents on that.
I don't know-
but-
I don't
I was
know
gonna
how
say
we
the
could do
same
that.
thing.
I can share that the walls are still insulated with sound attenuation bats. The sound absorbing panels were more about making the room less live and loud. So it should still protect people's privacy
No.
while saving some money to do
You
that.
better not do
No,
that.
as a medical professional, my answer to that is, I didn't allude to it today when I was at the meeting because I was digesting this stuff, but after we get done the meeting and I thought about it, I wouldn't touch that with a 20-foot pole. Let them have the full security of that. All you need is one HIPAA violation, and then everybody's going to be on the hook for it.
Agree.
So, and the criteria for that is pretty well straightforward, so I'm going to say no on that. That'd be my 2 cents on that.
The other thing I just want to ask about, and so are we still in good shape in terms of compliance if we were to go with the lift instead of the elevator?
Yes, that will meet the code requirement. I've talked with the elevator inspector and also with the fire marshal's office. The Lula lift will be enough. You're still going to have a lift. It's just going to be a smaller one that is pretty much for a person in a wheelchair as opposed to a general elevator.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that term. Is
The Lula?
that a chair lift that kind of goes up the
No.
railing?
It is not a chairlift. Chairlifts will not meet code. I guess the way I would describe it is a Lula lift is a larger lift than a chair lift. The problem with a chair lift is the person going upstairs on the chairlift has to shift from their wheelchair over to the chairlift, and then somebody has to bring their wheelchair up for them so that when they get to the second floor. That's why that's not compliant. This kind of lift is, you can go right in a wheelchair, it will take you right up, and then you just back right out.
I think the best way for visual representation is when you see a truck pull in to offload freight, that lift gate, imagine that lift gate with side rails and a folding lock on the front once you roll in. That's exactly what it looks like. It's completely open. It's protected probably 30 inches up from the platform, and it scoots up and down from there. That'd be the best way to visualize it.
Yeah.
My concern, though,
This one will have it will have an elevator shaft that goes with it, but it can be made out of studs and drywall instead of a masonry shaft like we would normally use in an elevator.
my concern with, if we go with the Lulu lift, is we're talking about folks in wheelchairs. And there's a lot of other folks with disabilities that have difficulty moving around. And I would hope that we take that into consideration if we decide to go through the lift process. That's the only thing there.
I can say that we do currently have one of these in the library already.
Yes.
And we have lots of people who have special needs, who have difficulty taking the stairs for whatever reason,
Mhm.
even if it's just the exertion. And we don't sort of bar access to our.
No,
to
no,
our
I'm just
lift right now.
saying that, you know, construction is construction. you
I
know.
believe a person who is like, with a cane or something like that can also ride the Lulu lift.
Right.
The issue is making sure that it works for a person in a wheelchair.
Because you have one in your school,
I have one in my school.
Yep.
Yes.
and I've ridden it many times. I think it's cool.
I have two.
Many
Okay.
people think they're fun.
Okay, any other questions for Peter or for Mr. Carter?
So what is your target reduction in the value engineering cost-wise? Because I see you're very close to the 1.8.
Yes, so,
Or what are you trying to get to?
Actually, so where we are right now, we needed the construction cost to be $1,344,000 and change.
Oh, okay.
We're currently, if we go with the base bid from A&M, we're at $1,690,800.
Yeah.
And so we've got to get about somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000, more like $250,000.
Okay, and so that eliminates the three alternates, then? We don't plan on buying those
That's true.
alternates?
nope.
No?
Nope.
That's
It's
correct?
also sort of why we put them in there. We knew that they were going to be
Okay.
expensive additions.
Very good. Well, you're close.
First things to write off.
You're
Yep.
close. All right, good. Thank you very much.
Was that price include those alternates, or that would be in addition to that price?
It would be an addition.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
they're not
separated
gonna do
out.
it.
The alternates
Yeah.
would be extra.
okay.
Yeah.
And so the 1.8 doesn't include anything that we can factor into this 1.6? The overage can't be absorbed in, tell me what the two differences, the figures, the 1.3 and the 1.8 all in.
I can tell you that the budget that we worked out, and that's in the contract, includes $67,000 of contingency that can be included for this if it needs to be. And then I don't believe, I'll leave Peter to explain. I think he's got some other places that money for parts of the project can come from, but I leave that to him to explain.
So we talk about certain
I
cost
happen to
adjustments.
know, I put a contingency in the project budget that we're using.
When we talk about certain cost adjustments, such as the acoustic paneling on the walls, the cost savings there are not so much that the library does not currently have funds within certain trusts to cover proprietary materials such as this, especially for the improvement and advancement of the library. So there are some areas in which the library itself, as well as our partnering organizations, have already been approached and are willing to assist with certain things, such as the cost of furniture. There are some, as well as the contingency thing and bringing down that lower bid even more. We should be well within. The 1.8 is the full allotment from the MCA in terms of the grant funding, minus the 20,000 for asbestos abatement and minus the 166,000 for the architecture and engineering services of Haley Ward.
So about just under 200,000, that's already kind of accounted for, right?
Yes.
So that actually leaves about 1.6.
It's 1.7.
So-
1.7.
So that's why I have a question. Why don't we have enough with the 1.7? What am I missing? If the bid comes in at 1.69 and you technically have 1.7, are we just shaving just a shave cost, or, I mean, can we afford to do the project as
No,
presented?
Here, I'm sorry, let me do a little math. So if we were to do the project and all the ad alternates, that price would be one. My apologies for not having this added up.
This was from December 19th, if you
Yep.
want to look at it at that one.
Yeah, I'll slide it down. I saw this earlier today.
Yeah, so if we were to do everything that we drew, so in other words, accept all the ad alternates, the cost of the project would have been $1,858,939. So that, and again, that's why we constructed the bid the way we did, is so that we identified things that would be nice to have, but that could be done without. And those are in addition to the base bid, which is the $1,690,800.
I think I need to rephrase the way I asked that question. Do you understand what I'm saying,
I do.
Peter?
Yeah, the
Okay.
difference between the 1.3 engineering estimate for project cost versus the total allotment of about 1.7 that we still have left to spend. On that sheet in front of you, you'll see the 1.3 estimate
see
up
it.
top, and then that center, I think, is the rest of what you're asking for, which is the technology requirements and then some other things I don't remember. off the top of my head.
That's
sorry,
what
I
it
can't
is.
see
That's
the
what it
paper
is.
you're looking
That's
at.
okay. Sorry
It's
about
the
that.
It's the budget spreadsheet that
Yeah.
you.
From
Yeah, that's
December.
okay.
Okay. That's all the numbers. So thank you for,
Yes.
yep, I appreciate that.
Though there are some adjustments there
More
as well.
explanation than you probably want.
Such
No,
as
that's
the-
okay.
The technology budget there is listed as 90,000. It is actually closer to 20,000.
Okay.
So there are some other small things there.
So there's like $67,000 sitting in the 36601 account, the
library building.
the reserve account or whatever. Is that, could that be applied as
With-
well
with
to this
council
project?
permission, some of those are, a bit of that funding is earmarked for specific projects. Obviously, we've asked for disbursements for over the years. But with council's permission, we could.
So there's 67 that we could use if we needed to.
And then you said that $94,000 is actually like 20,000. So that's a big difference. That's a huge amount of
There's
money.
another
there.
70, right?
Yep.
I think you're close.
You're
I think
close.
you'll
You're
get
very
there.
close.
I think we're in
Oh, yes,
fairly
I'm
good shape.
confident
Yeah.
that when we take a look at the more comprehensive listing at the end of this week, between price and duration reductions, we'll be right where we want to be.
I agree. I think realistically right now is to really force the time issue, like we talked about, to make sure that we're hitting that time criteria, because like we talked about during the meeting, I really don't want to have to explain to anybody how come we started this project, we have contractors on the ground, and oh, guess what, we have no money. So, you know, I think that's where the emphasis needs to be right now.
It's the one thing I'm working to avoid, yes.
So you'll have basically everything finalized in terms of numbers and all of that at the end of this week.
That is currently the hope, yes.
Okay.
So will you be returning then for authorization to enter into the contract with the low bidder, with the value engineering all laid out for us?
Yes.
Okay. And that'll be happening on the 9th? Well, that's
No,
during-
because that's
our workshop.
our
We can't do
workshop.
that.
So
How
the
do we do this?
16th.
So the 16th.
The 16th, we'll talk.
We'll talk, it's on the
Okay.
agenda.
All right.
Okay.
We're gonna make some adjustments for the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Need to do
That-
that.
Anything
good.
further for Peter or for
Looks
Mr.
good.
Carter?
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Peter.
thank you.
Thanks very much.
All right,
Thank you.
Have a
thanks.
great evening.
You too.
You too.
Item 9E will be our financial report.
Evening, Madam Mayor, councilors, Manager Thompson. January financials, the narrative is on page 22. I'll be starting my report on page 23. Assets on hand as of January 31st, 2026, $14,413,313.19. Cash on hand, $7,430,875.33. 2025 tax receivable, about 3/4 of the way down the page. We collected $124,634.93 in January towards the 2025 commitment, leaving a balance of $984,561.66. To date, through January 31st, we've collected 90.9% of our total commitment. It's about 4/10 less than last year's commitment at the same time frame. 2026, we collected $48,160.28 in prepayments, giving us a balance as of January 31st of $125,471.03. Moving over to the next page, our liabilities ended at $9,538,267.01. Moving over to page 28, our fund balance ended at $4,875,046.18. Moving over to expenses for January. We ended at $961,415.39. And I'm doing comparisons to January of last year until we get our budget finalized for 2026. And compared to last January, we were up 8.7%, about 84,000 compared to January of 2025. Moving over to revenues on page 35. Revenues came in at $640,502.80. And again, to January of last year, we were down 4%, about 25,500. Excise come in at $100,197.45, and compared to January of 2025, that was at $123,832.78. So we were down about $23,600, or about 23.6% compared to last January. Revenue sharing came in at $245,784.79. Compared to last January, $233,042.46. So we're up about $13,000, or about 5.2%. Do you want me to go into more detail on the expenses and revenue comparisons?
Do you just have any thoughts as to why the number is so high for the excise tax being 23.6 under?
Yeah, I think part of that is because of electricity and heating fuel costs for the winter. I did run some February numbers and they do look a little bit higher, so it could be just a timing thing where people didn't come in until the beginning of February for the January registrations.
I got you.
So,
Okay.
I mean, the percentage is quite high, but it's only really $24,000.
It's not, yeah, it's just,
not-
it's a smaller pot of money, so it's not really all that much money, but
So
it's
I'm
just
hoping the
compared-
February number comes in a little bit better. And that it's looking like that.
And the expenses were up probably because of the same type of things?
The expenses were up, generally because of wages, and the police department was fully staffed this January compared to last January with the dispatchers and all, so they were a little bit higher for 2026 compared to 2025.
Okay.
Public Works is also over, and all I can think of without talking to Chris is he talked about a lot of wind this January, so they had more time out on the roads even though
Yep.
we had less snowfall.
May I have any other questions for Carl?
Thanks,
Okay.
Carl.
What are the wishes of the council?
To accept the January 2026 financial report as presented.
A second.
Motion and a second, further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Knight Fair?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Carl.
All right, item 9F is the city manager's report. Sorry about that. Anybody have any questions for Penny?
How do you like these beautiful pictures, like while you're?
I drove down there to see it finally.
Yeah, is that amazing?
It's pretty cool, yeah.
It's like
Oh, yeah.
66% done.
Yeah, so
It's
awesome.
amazing, right? I also have in here, starting on page 44, is the Maine Department of Transportation's work plan for calendar years 26, 27, and 28. So if anyone is interested in that, that's in here also. We have had some citizens contact the office because they left their contact information when they responded to the online public meeting and have not heard back from DOT. So we'll be reaching out to them to find out why they haven't, because they said that they were going to follow up if people left their contact information.
As they should.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Item number 10 is new business ordinances and resolutions, and 10A is a first read on the ordinance updating Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. Begins on page 47 of your packet. So I hope everyone's had a chance to kind of look this over. I know there was a lot of work that went into this, making these updates. So I guess I would just open it up for discussion at this point.
And if you haven't had time, maybe send me an email, so when I bring it back. One of the things, it needs to go through our legal review. I know our city clerk has found some things that we need to fix in there. I've heard from some members of council with some other things, so.
I think that was the only question I had. What were the things that were found that need to be changed, minor things?
Danielle, what was your thing? It was about dates, right?
Yeah, like, so we have 2 dispensaries in town, and one expires in November and one expires in December. But according to this new ordinance, they're gonna have to pay by January 31st, and then they'll have to apply in the fall, when their time is due. So this year, they would be renewing in November and December and each paying their money, and then they'd have to pay again in January, and then I'd have to wait to do their application in the fall.
I see, okay.
So it's extra time and just streamline it.
So it's minor.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
minor.
okay. Okay.
One of the things I haven't done either is talk to like our fire chief, police chief, and our building official, because before we had it so that those 3 would go and do an inspection before we signed off. And the way the planning board organized this was for it to be more like liquor licenses. So I haven't had a conversation with them. Like, this is something we would talk about like at a department head meeting.
Right.
But I haven't done that yet. you
So
know.
what, just-
It's all budget all the time, right?
Yeah, I know, but.
You know, but that's something that we have to do. And I'm sure that all of you will find things too.
So just as a brief overview, what are you thinking based on what you just said? I mean, you want to still send them out as a group and do them before they're licensed like we,
I think it's good. I mean, you're doing basic things like,
yep,
so in like state law, you need to have cameras on the outside working. You have to
Right.
have lights, and those are good to make sure those are working. Exit signs, making sure
Mhm.
that you don't have exits that are blocked with
Sure.
things. It's public. I
GP
mean, like
stuff.
life safety type
Yeah,
stuff.
GP stuff, general purpose. Okay.
And you know, they need to have locks, they need to have, you know, limit access, you
Right.
know, for different
To certain
patrons
areas
and
and
things.
stuff,
yeah.
yep. Mhm.
And I think that was helpful. It's just, it's things like that just need to be addressed. And again, this hasn't gone to Rick Solomon either.
No, true.
So
true.
that needs to happen also.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I looked through this and I'm pretty comfortable. I mean, I'm sure I'll look through it again. I was,
Yeah, and whatever you find, just send it to me and I can get that, get everything compiled that I have. I have not worked on it since getting it into the packet, so.
okay.
Yep.
What's your anticipated time for getting that to Rick?
Just as soon as we have a chance to look. I mean, our next meeting that you'd be able to like introduce it is the 16th. So if we can get it to him, I guess first identify what are the things that need to be changed. We also would have to determine, is that a significant change that it would need to go back to the planning board? Or if it's not a significant change. That's going to be something, and that's something that we'll want to have Rick's input on if he thinks it's a significant change
Okay.
with things. And that's something that, you know, is a charter thing. Like if we're introducing an ordinance and it's something that's a significant change, then it needs to go back to the planning board.
Okay.
And again, what their thoughts were was, let's try to make this like liquor licenses. And to be honest, like I haven't really looked through it to say, okay, I know how we've done it before, because that's the way I've done it, is the old way. And for me to look at this and say, okay, like knowing what Danielle has said about the licensing part, like that's very cumbersome. We definitely need to, you know, have this so that it's not, people aren't paying twice, or we're not touching paper twice through the year.
Right.
Things like that. Yeah. One of the things that Karen Gorman has talked about a few times is just like the land use chart, how we have it so it's not, you know, we have no everywhere. And should that be something that's addressed too? So, and I haven't read through all those comments yet. So.
Mm.
I wonder if you would handle that the same way as if, when, you know, Jody wants us to switch to the fiscal year, whatever it is. Is that what it is? And
I'm
so,
gonna bring that up later, but.
well, I mean, I know you're going to say it eventually anyway, but I mean, I wonder if you would handle it kind of the same way, where you would just have them pay forward whatever to get to the next year, and then the full year to put them on the same cycle or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's
Yeah,
possible.
I don't know. Danielle and I,
months.
yeah, Danielle and I haven't talked. She
I don't
sent me
know.
the email, and I haven't.
I really don't want to.
Haven't
I don't want to
pictured it.
figure this out for you, but I'm just throwing something
Yeah,
out there.
all of our other
Some
licensing they pay
little
us
bit.
to.
Yeah, everything is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Can't be just easy peasy.
But we don't want to
Right.
make things difficult. I mean, that's the whole thing.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying, is
Yeah.
if we could just maybe figure out a way to.
Keep it streamlined so that
Yeah.
we move
Yep.
efficiently.
Yeah, exactly.
On page 69, where they talk about the section 741, I thought that they were going to go through that and change all the terminology from marijuana to cannabis and the definitions and all that. And I did look more closely at the state law, and this has to be completely rewritten.
Right, and that was something that was brought up at the planning board, but I see it, the one that I had, and again, I take responsibility for the fact that I should have had Eric work on this before he got it to me. This was how I had to work with, which was what went to the planning board. That's,
Well, what came out of the planning board, I think, is this. This came out of North Star. This was their final product, so I don't think they ever did go back.
no, but the motion from the planning board was to go back and change that.
Right, but that hasn't been done
But
yet.
it hasn't been done on
Okay.
what I have, yeah.
All right, that was my understanding as well.
Yeah.
Because I was surprised to see all that.
Yeah, no, it.
Talk
it
about
just
marijuana
wasn't-
and-
Yeah, no. It has to be changed.
Okay, thank you.
But this is what I had available to me,
Okay.
is this.
So I would say if anyone has additional comments that they would like to share with our city manager, to have that into her by next week, so that this
Sure.
can be forwarded to the city attorney and we can discuss this at our next meeting.
Yeah,
Yep, quickly.
perfect.
Okay, item number 10B is the acceptance of a police sergeant's contract. That's on page 72 of your packet.
There's only one change from what you have in your packet, which is on 85. When you look under step 1 for 2028, there's an extra 1 in there. The comma's in the right place, but there's an
I
extra
see it.
1.
Yep.
So that was the one thing that got past us here.
I think I'll speak to this just for briefly. Had the opportunity to meet with them as the labor negotiations person for the council, and I think it went very well. I think it's reasonable.
Mhm.
I think everybody, we've talked about it many times, well, executive session or whatever, so. With that, I'll make a motion that we accept the contract as proposed.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Night Fair?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Yes?
Watson?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 10C is an update on city council meeting dates on page 86 of your packet. Penny, if you want to go ahead and just explain the thought
Sure.
behind this.
So tonight, we've changed our meeting time already for this meeting so that we could have our public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant, and also we had hoped we'd be able to accept the library bid. That didn't happen, but I thank you very much for changing the dates, because at least we were able to have the public hearing. So the bid deadline for the Caribou Public Library Main Connectivity Authority Grant Project was set for February 17th. As stated at the February 9th City Council meeting, it's advantageous to approve a bid on the project as soon as possible. 2 bids were received, both over the anticipated construction costs. The project manager from Haley Ward was on vacation, so staff will need to set up a meeting and look for ways to value engineer the project this week, and then we will need time to get the revised bid back to the City Council. Therefore, staff has requested that the City Council update the City Council meeting dates and cancel the March 23rd, 2026 regular City Council meeting and schedule a March 16th, 2026 regular City Council meeting. Harriman will also present the 90% construction documents on the 16th so the fire station project can be put out to bid. So by having this meeting a week earlier, that bid will go out sooner.
That's fine.
Okay. What are the wishes of the council?
To update the city council meeting dates to cancel the March 23rd, 2026 regular city council meeting and schedule a regular city council meeting for March 16th, 2026.
I will second that.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just want to point out that I think we're being, we're not pushing things down the road, we're being accommodating. I know we all have busy schedules, so this is very appropriate, in my opinion.
Yep, for sure. Bagley?
Aye.
Night Fair?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, item 10D is some more budget presentations. So that starts on page 87 of your packet, and I believe Danielle,
have
you're up
Danielle up
first with
first.
general assistance.
Okay, so I start on page 104. The biggest change, of course, is the wages. And that's because in 2025, in July, we had a wage adjustment, and then we got a 3% COLA, so it makes a huge difference. There's a line in here that was supposed to go in general government, so I'm gonna have Penny move it. For conference fees, that's actually a clerk conference. So that needs to get wiggled, and I didn't notice it until today. And of course, there is the new line for telephone billing, which has never been paid by general assistance before, and apparently now is. Okay.
Why is that? Just remind us.
Don't know.
Oh, okay. All right then.
But I'm pretty sure it
it's
was
just-
wrapped up in another line. I mean, it wasn't like something we just blew off, right?
Yeah, it was paid for by general government, which
Yeah.
it's just gonna move how it's paid.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah.
the same alley, just a different location.
And the GA line overall, there is a slight increase, 16% from 25,000 to 29,000. The biggest reason I'm asking for more, I know I didn't spend it all last year, but until housing vouchers start getting issued again, I'm paying more in rent for people.
Mm.
What page are you on right now with that line?
105.
For 105?
Yep, it's line
Oh, there it is.
53-1.
Okay.
But everything that I spend out of that line, 70% does come back to the city, and that's where you'll see the revenue on page 181. So I'm 100% reimbursed for Connor and 70% reimbursed for Caribou. Any questions?
Yeah, I guess going back to the salaries right up on top there, that's a significant, can you explain again why we're
We had a wage adjustment in July of
64%?
last year.
64%?
Did you hire another person, though?
No?
No? Okay.
Again,
Well, I didn't think that you had.
$700.
Pardon?
It only averages to about 8,700, it's just that it's because of the
It's just a
amount.
small amount,
The
so it
percent-
seems like
Makes the
more.
percentage look really, really high, but it is, we double checked the number today, and that is the number.
I think when you're talking about small numbers, it always looks like a big percentage,
Yeah.
is what I'm
Well,
just
I
like.
mean, I always look at that,
Yeah.
but 64% is 64%, so somebody got 64% raise. I mean, that had to have come from somewhere, right? So,
Well,
even
is
if it was only
Does that also
$8,000.
include, though, that also would include like the family medical and all that, right? That new,
No, it's just salary,
And that
regular
line's
pay.
reimbursed by the state too.
yeah.
Yeah,
That doesn't include all of that, though. That's only just the salary? It doesn't include all their other
well, I'm
expenses
looking
that
at
are.
line 00101, regular pay.
I gotcha. Because I'm seeing down here, you got the social
Yeah,
security
but
bit.
you also need to take in consideration, we did their COLA increase this year too. That's part of that number.
You didn't give a 27% or 64% COLA. It's just not adding up.
I think you need to, the way I look at this is, I see the number 64% and I go, holy cow. And then I go over and I look at the number and I go, well, wait a minute. You know, statistics are statistics. Fortunately, they don't come into play in my checkbook, so that works out for me, you know.
The salary's pretty special in that, I mean, it's very specific. It's not like spending $100 more for pencils and erasers
No, I agree.
and that representing a 100% increase. I mean, this is a 64% increase in salaries, regular pay, I should say.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, you're looking at the 038,
001 to 01.
yeah, that's right, with the 64.45% increase.
21, yeah,
Okay,
that
well,
one right there,
okay,
yeah.
well, Social Security is 64.45%.
Okay, I was
increase as
looking at
well.
the wrong one, yeah, okay, I need to look at the right one.
Well, that
I
would
get
make
it.
sense, wouldn't it?
Yes, it's consistent, yes, that would make sense, but it's still high. That's not explained.
That's the actual. That's only in the general, I guess, I don't know too much, but just only in the general assistance. That wasn't when we made the wage index or the wage increase for all non-union employees at the time. Is that just specific to this department?
So it's a percentage of Danielle's wages are costed to general assistance. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Did that percentage raise for any reason? Huh.
Okay. so
It's a
that's-
mystery.
It is, yeah. I don't know.
That's all I have.
Anybody have any further questions about that?
Nope.
Okay.
But then when you look at the next page, this is year two, right? Under tax assessment and where it goes down 20%. Oh,
Lisa's
no,
gonna
that's-
be next.
oh, that's
and
different.
that's gonna be on page 109.
Okay.
Yeah, salary.
Yeah,
Danielle, did you have anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Danielle.
Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
So we've got Caribou Housing and the CHA Family Self-Sufficiency.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with Department 24, which is housing. And the budget for this department starts on page 109. And there's only a couple of increases that are significant besides COLA and your basic benefits. The couple of the increases is on printer ink underneath office supplies. There's a 12.5% increase there. Along with office supplies, there's a 20% increase. The reason for that is the FSS, Family Self-Sufficiency Grant, has changed. That department is no longer to be able to pay for their own office supplies. So it has to come out of this department.
Gotcha.
So that's the reason the increase is there. And if you go to the next page, 110, travel expenses, line 10-05, that's going up roughly about 16.67%. Reason for that specific line is for inspections. And since we have 3 different voucher programs and 2 of them are countywide, it's anywhere from St. David to down to Holton. And I try to do them all in one day, Holton, but it doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's a couple times a month. So as we know with the Casa Cola for mileage has gone up.
Yep.
And then underneath new equipment, we've got a 33.3% increase there. We need to replace the new equipment in the office. I was told the other day, I'm 2 years overdue for a new laptop, and my printer is going out. So we need to get that replaced. And the other increase for this department is a cell phone. Up until this point, I've been using my personal cell phone. Well, we went out and got a housing cell phone, which is used for FOIA requests. And I also use it for inspections while I'm out in the field.
Okay.
So instead of getting another piece of equipment to use. So bottom line, on page 111, the increase for Housing Department 24 is 2.15%. Any questions on that particular department?
Nope.
Okay,
So I do have a question
Sure.
on, okay, so I'm looking at your salaries
yes,
and then comparing forward your health insurance, social security, and retirement. You're showing 0% increase for health insurance, social security, and retirement. Why is that when there is an increase in the salaries? lines?
increase in salaries is you got the 3% increase.
Mhm.
And salary line, the regular pay, also includes for another full-time employee, which we did have in the budget for last year. But with Sue, our previous FSS coordinator, leaving in April, the girl that was in the housing department, Department 24, was part-time, she went into the FSS department. So that's why the salary line is lower for 25
Right.
versus projected for 26. And as far as benefit numbers, those all come from HR.
Very
I
good.
got a question.
Yes.
Yeah, on the cell phone, so in the past, you've been using your personal cell phone. So now you're gonna have this for city business, or
It's strictly city business.
strict, no,
Oh, no,
I agree
yes,
with it
yep.
100%, so that you can keep yours,
Correct,
and you mentioned the FOA
correct,
potential, correct?
correct.
Here's what I'm doing.
Yep,
I mean, unless you get a phone call, somewhere
right.
else. Yeah, I like that. That's my opinion on that.
Yep.
So back to my question. So Carl, did you have any possible
On the
explanation of why there we have 0% for the health insurance, social security, and city retirement?
So the health insurance, the participant took a different plan than the previous employee. So we just left it the same because we were under budget at 36,927, and she'll be getting a full year in 2026.
Okay.
The retirement, I don't believe she's participating, so I left it the same. unemployment insurance has been decreasing, because knock on wood, we haven't had a lot of claims.
What about Social Security?
That's typically based on, it ties in with the wages, and we just left it the same, because they were under budget for actual in 2025.
And I'd just like to point this out, keep in mind that Department 24 and 96 is what the city considers an enterprise account. Whatever money is spent on these two departments is 100% reimbursed by the federal government.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that nothing got,
Oh, okay, sure.
like, skipped or overlooked or
Yep,
whatever.
Yep, yep.
That's all.
So any other questions on Department 24?
Nope.
Okay. Moving on to Department 96, which is our Family Self-Sufficiency Program. Again, only a few line changes here. Everything is pretty much the same, if not below. As you'll notice, the salary's gone down.
What page is that on?
I'm sorry, page
170.
170.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Again, salary line has gone down a little bit because we have a new employee versus one that was doing the job for 10 years. Otherwise, the increases in this particular department is on line 00312, software. Again, with the housing, the FSS grant, there are certain things that the FSS grant can pay for, and that is software programs. That also goes along with subscriptions. There's an increase in that line. Along with travel expenses, the FSS coordinator is able to travel to clients' homes to go to talk personal items instead of them coming into the office, so we're putting that in there as well, along with an increase in education. As we know, education is always one, we never know when classes are gonna come up and how much they're gonna cost and where they're gonna be.
Right.
So, and the bottom line for this particular department, it's on page 172, it's actually a decrease of 28.62%.
Nice.
But again, things could go up depending on what's available. So, any questions?
So I guess along the same lines as before, so on the salaries line, you're showing a reduction of about $8,000
Correct.
from your 2025 budget to 2026 request.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you go down to the health insurance, you're showing,
I believe for 26, she changed her plan, is that correct, Carol? Yeah.
you see,
Pardon?
She changing plans.
Well, in 25, Sue had one plan. I believe she was a single-family plan, whereas the new girl we have is probably on a family plan.
yeah, and these are tough because
It's
everybody
hard.
selects differently, and I understand all that. It's just when I see something out of the ordinary that catches my eye, I'd like to ask about it. So that's just a matter of changing plans.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And if you think of something later, give me an email.
Okay.
I've got my cell phone.
Thank you.
Thank
No,
you.
good job on this. It looks great.
Okay, up next is Gary for Recreation Parks and Snowmobile Trails.
Evening, Mayor, Roma, Councilors, Manager Thompson. Before I get into my budget presentation, I've got some good news. We do have a contract signed for fishway designer for the Caribou Pond project.
Yay.
We've signed it with Interfluve. They are a state of Maine business out of Damascotta, so they're a very local firm, and they've done a lot of nature-like fishways that we've looking at doing for the pond. It's been a long road to get this firm, but we have secured it. They're looking at doing a preliminary design between May and July, depending on weather conditions and how early spring shows up. So we are moving forward. It's taken a little bit longer than we had anticipated, but the project is moving forward. So hopefully in the next couple months, with the weather coming around, we will get further in. We cannot do any bidding out of contractors until we have a permit in hand by the Army Corps of Engineers. And we need this design for the fishway. So once we get that, we should be moving right along. So any questions on the pond and that project? If none, I will move into our Department 50 Recreation budget expenses on page 98. I think we're on the same pages, I believe. I worked as much as I can.
140.
140, well, I got 98, so I must have older one. But I checked it a while ago that all the numbers were still the same as earlier. I think they're just further down the page, down the packet that you guys had. So you'll have to refer to Leonard Thompson on the page numbers if I keep moving forward. As you can see, I'm trying to stay my lines as much as I can. I did reduce on advertising. I dropped it $250, reduced some equipment repairs in the offices as well. Our stuff has been pretty good, and as you can see, I didn't utilize my last year's budget on some of that stuff, so I wanted to make sure that we can reduce where we could. One of my bigger increases is down on page, what was it, 140?
Yep.
My water lines, there were increases last year to the water lines, so I had to increase it for this year. We ran over a little bit on the splash pad, and again, the splash pad is a flow-through design, so every year it's gonna be different use, whether the weather is a good weather or not. Last year, we ended up by having a pretty good summer, so a lot more use. It all depends on what the weather's gonna be this year coming. SOAR, I was down, I didn't estimate quite enough on the SOAR, so I've recalculated those figures, so that's why that line is up 33%, but that includes the SOAR at the rec and the SOAR bill at the park building as well. So there's two buildings on that line. But as you can see, I kept it increases here and there, but as minimal as I possibly could. So the bottom line of the Department 50 Rec Department is an increase of 6.14%.
I have 4.61, is that what you mean?
4.61.
4.61, I got 6.14, so again.
I think you must have an older version.
I must have the older version. I checked it earlier today, and I thought I had the one, so we'll take the 4.6%.
Yeah, that sounds well.
Hey, it's a win-win. Sorry, Penny.
You just
Mrs.
cut your
Thompson.
budget again for us, right here in front of us. Magic.
I apologize for not having, I thought I looked at it, I guess I got the wrong ones, I'm sorry. Any questions on the Department 50?
So on the heating fuel,
Yeah.
2601, you're asking for 28,
Yep.
when you spent 16,575. I see in previous years, it's been pretty high. How is that? Why is that bouncing around so much? You only spent 16,575
16.
last year. This is for rec fuel,
No,
rec
okay,
center fuel.
okay, Councilor Bagley, if you add those two lines up together, they got messed up at one point, and I didn't catch it till the end, but you have to add the 11th, I had 11,000, so I was closer to 21,000 is what I had expended on heating.
Well, I see what you're
27,
doing. I
you
see
mean?
what you're doing with 11,800. It's just sitting out there by itself.
Well, that was keyed out into a wrong line.
Okay.
Okay, so that is all still the heating fuel for the rec center, so.
I see 28,390 and
Correct.
28,000.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So the
Yeah.
totals are all right, but I didn't understand what was going on with the rec center.
I didn't catch that and get that to Mr. Grant in time to clean that up.
Doesn't make a difference. The total's the same.
The total's the same, correct?
Yep, thanks.
Yep.
Perfect.
Any other
No?
questions
Anything I
on
saw?
Department 50?
Looks
Nope.
good.
Yeah, just
Yes.
something quick. It's not, when we do Caribou on Sweden and you do it in your lot like we did last year,
Mhm.
is the usage for the splash pad more because that function is there? Or is that something that we kind of close down as it starts to get towards evening, I guess? You know where I'm going with
Yeah,
that?
no, it wasn't used anymore. You're talking about when we moved the Thursdays on Sweden to the, no, not really.
And this is just tagging in on that conversation. This year, you're talking about having them all down
They're
here.
gonna be all down, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, because of, there's several different, that one July 23rd night is a lot of
Yeah,
class reunions.
yeah.
So having it down on Sweden Street is gonna be a lot easier for a few other logistics parts of that event.
Okay.
Yep. Moving on to Department 51. Well, let me see how much I cut it tonight without knowing.
Yes, that's right.
So on Department 51, that's the Parks Department. That line, I know where the question's gonna come. The salary line for the regular pay, my Director of Maintenance, his increase was significant last year as he was kind of low on the line, so that's why that increase is there. I dropped the overtime line by $3,000, so only asking for $1,000 on that line. The regular salaries is up because of minimum wage increase again this year, and we do use 2 employees, summer staff, and we pay them a little bit more than minimum wage due to the fact that they're out mowing all the properties of the city. So we feel that they need a little bit extra there. This year, I do need to purchase a drill press for the shop, so I did increase that line for the new equipment line, so that's why that's up. But other than that, pretty much everything is a little bit less, a little bit more here and there. Heating, fuel. This year's been a long heating season. Unfortunately, I didn't have much fuel. I did not have any money left over in the budget line from last year, like I do on the heating of the rec. I was able to pay for part of the 26 heating season at the rec through the 25 budget season. Park shop, we weren't able to. We did not budget for enough. And we do keep the shop relatively chilly, but it's been a long season heating, so I'm glad I crystal balled that correctly. Other than that, the electricity lines are down because there's 3 of our properties that I had them shut off for the winter. So the minimum payment now for electricity, I believe, is $47 a month on just having a meter. So there's 3 of our properties that we shut down in November, and we won't put them back on until May. So that's going to be, it doesn't sound like a lot, but $350 savings times 4 is quite a bit. So there's going to be a change, there's going to be a drop there in electrical fees. Building supply, I kept the same. Building maintenance, I dropped down a little bit. We ended up by putting a little bit of new lights in the shop last year, so that will help. So I was able to drop that line. Vehicle insurance, that all comes out of city office. I don't have anything to do with that, thankfully. Equipment maintenance, I did increase it a little bit this year. We are running a lot of older pieces of equipment that do tend to break down a little bit more often, so I increased that line, but we take care of a lot of stuff with that kind of money, so I try to be as frugal as I can when it comes to repairing our stuff. I'm asking for a little bit more on the clothing line. I don't think I've increased that line, and that line has been at $600, I believe, for at least 15 years to my knowledge, and so I've asked for a little bit more there. I kept the vehicle repair line the same. We did just, you folks just allowed us to purchase a new vehicle this past fall, so that new frontline vehicle is under warranty, so we shouldn't have any issues there. We're gonna be replacing the 08, we're gonna be getting rid of that truck, so we're hoping to keep that line kinda low. I kept the gas oil filters, that all the same. And so my bottom line, because I don't know what it is, I have 13.3 here. What do you have?
11.59, look at you.
Look at that. Not even knowing it.
Every time.
11.9. Anyone have any questions about the Department 51 line? And just to reiterate, we maintain a lot of property for the city with that line, that budget. We do a lot. So I think we're pretty much spot on with that department. Any questions?
What's the difference between regular pay,
So regular pay is
overtime, and salaries? Really, what's the difference between regular pay and salaries?
regular pay is a full-time employee,
Yeah,
and then the salaries are the two part-timers.
part-time,
Part-time.
okay.
And not only just two, there's some that float around back and forth that I swap over departments.
Can we maybe relabel that part-time wages or something along those lines?
I can.
Because I think I ask this question every
I think
year.
you-
Did
yeah.
I ask it last year?
I think so. I think so. Maybe I'll make a note of it and have Mr. Grant, if we can change that in the TRIO program. I think he's writing it down right now.
It's probably more trouble than it's worth, but. Social Security, okay.
Any other questions on Department 51? Excellent. Moving on to Department 52 is the snowmobile maintenance account, trail maintenance. That is a fully granted account. What we spend out gets reimbursed back in end of December, 1st of January, back to the city from the state grant. So basically, you guys are loaning us the money to run the trails, and then the city gets reimbursed. Biggest increase this year, again, is our drivers are paid, and they're paid minimum wage. So that's where that increase is, because of the minimum wage increases. So that obviously increases the workers' comp, unemployment compensation. Other than that, I did increase the equipment maintenance. Our tractors are starting to get a little older. I'm getting a few more hours on them every year, so there's a few other things. They're still under warranty, but there's always other things that we have to manage. I did decrease the diesel line. I'm hoping that we're going to be right there, but again, that one there is a stab in the dark, depending on how much of a winter we have. And as Mr. Perkins said a couple weeks ago at one of the meetings, we haven't had a lot of snow this winter, but we've had a lot of wind. So we've had to go out and chase drifts, open up road crossings. So we've run quite a bit just to maintain the few inches of snow on the trails, but the wind has been howling pretty much all winter, and it's howling right now. So, but I think we're going to be pretty close on the diesel, on the fuel line. And I don't know what the percentage difference is on this one. 1.78, so this one,
1.78?
and I had 1.3, so yeah, I increased it by 4.48 tonight. So, anybody have, again, this account is strictly grant funded. So
And how does that work? That's reimbursable, so at the end of the year, or
at the end of
do you
this
do
grooming
that
season,
periodically?
no, I wait till it's just easier for paperwork. Do it once.
The end of the year,
I
all the
do it
expenses?
in May.
Yeah,
It has to be reimbursed by the end of June. So the deadline is May 1st. So by then, hopefully we're done grooming.
and it's dollar for dollar. We don't make any money off of this account. We don't get a grant and have some left over at the end of the year.
It used to work that way years and years ago, but it's changed now. So what the city puts out for an expense, I gotta match. I've got to make sure that the city gets it all back.
Perfect.
Yep.
Great.
I do a little bit better with the ATV grant, municipal grant program, because we don't groom trails in the summertime. We do some other work, but a lot of that is in-house, so I can get that monies back. So, any other questions on
I
these
just
three
want to
departments?
point out,
Yes, ma'am.
and every single year, this kind of drives me crazy. This is such a stupid thing. But on 5201, snowmobile is written incorrectly, and it just drives me.
So mobile.
Yeah, it drives me crazy, and I'm like, it's so stupid. I was like, don't say anything about that, but I have to.
I did notice it too.
Okay. Every single year, I'm just
We'll
like, I
get
got to
that,
do something.
We'll get that.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, but I'm here. You're here.
That's right.
Let's talk
No
about it.
problem. Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna talk about
Gary,
it.
thank you.
Penny, what'd you just pull up there?
So I guess this is a good time for me to say that we have put in our economic development budget for the year a smart screen.
There you
So
go.
maybe
That'd be
people will
nice.
be able to read things when we come in here and do different things. But No, this is actually page 89 in your packet, which kind of breaks down all the different departments. You know, some of you heard last week, some this week, some you haven't heard yet, which is what I'll go through some of those. But it kind of has in one place your each department. The ones that are highlighted in gray are your enterprise accounts, economic development, housing, the snowmobile trails, and family self-sufficiency. And then I have in there what we've asked for in 2026, what the actual expenses were in 2025, and then what the differences were between the actual expense and what our budget requests are for this year. And also the revenue. So you have, like, the accounts that you've heard tonight, general assistance, that is partially reimbursed. Housing, family self-sufficiency, those are both 100% reimbursed. Your snowmobile trail, 100% reimbursed. Other departments don't make back as much of their money as some of them that we are talking about tonight. Of course, the fire and ambulance department has significant revenue there. Tax assessment, general government, those are your bigger ones. And we can talk about those tonight. Economic development, which is also an enterprise account, that is funded by the TIF districts that we have, and those, to be able to have those expenses come out of your TIF district, the captured value, then that has to be on, like, when it was set up originally, the districts, and there we have 4 in town. One of them has been amended a couple of times, and that's how we fund these projects. We also have within the TIF district certain tax, credit enhancement agreements in those tax increment finance districts. And we have to make sure that the money that we're raising within those is sufficient not only to cover those credit enhancement agreements, but also for our economic development. So the first account I guess I'll talk about until you guys get tired of hearing me talk will be Department 10, which starts on page 90. And I'm going to be like looking out of my binder because I have them kind of, in here I have them off the actuals from last year, and I know that sometimes you like to talk about that.
Before you get started with
Sure.
that, can I ask you on the difference expense column on this page, on the previous page?
Okay, yeah.
You said it was a difference in the request versus last year's budget?
No, actual.
It is actual, okay.
Yep,
I heard you
yep.
say budget, so.
No, what we're
Or at least I
asking for
wrote
this
down
year.
budget.
Yeah, well, this year's budget numbers, that we're asking for compared to our actual expense.
Okay,
Because
thank
I know
you.
that's the one that you.
That's what I like to look at.
Exactly. So I have tried to structure that. I can't do it like when I print out Trio, I can print out what the actuals were now that I've run my, Carl showed me how to run, to update my actuals from last year. And those will show, but I can't like do a column that has the difference. So knowing that what you like is on actual, that's what this spreadsheet can kind of show you.
Yeah, and it says actual, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, exactly.
All right.
Yep. So for Department 10, which is general government is the city manager's office, the finance department, the city clerk's department. And regular pay, we have gone through this with other departments, but I'll just say the non-union employees did have wage adjustments halfway through the year. We had COLA adjustments. We also are fully staffed in general government at this point. We were not fully staffed in 2025 for a few positions, but we are fully staffed now, so that reflects on that. For council salaries, the reason why the initial budget request for 26 is the same as 25, although the actual is lower, is because we don't know how many meetings that we're going to have a year. So we budget to make sure that, as provided in the charter, that we are able to have the funds necessary to pay the city council salaries from that.
But we're capped, right? We're capped
You're
at
capped,
1,500,
yeah.
so it shouldn't matter how many. It'll always be below that.
Yes, it'll always be below
Okay.
that, yeah.
7 times 50 plus whatever
Yeah.
the mayor and deputy
Yep,
mayor may.
yep, exactly. Yep. So the next one that you see that has a big change from actual is in advertising. And you'll see that a lot of what we sent out last year, I think, should have been under economic development. So you'll see the number in the economic development department's gone up, where in general government, the amount from the actual to what we are asking for initially is lower. It's a little more than last year just because postage has gone up, and we've sent out, we have to send out a lot of mail with different things that we do. On legal fees, I have asked for additional funding this year. We had budgeted last year 45, and that's how, just almost what we paid out at 44,878, which is higher than we have typically spent in years past, but we've had a considerable uptick in our legal budget because of union negotiations and also the ADB complaint against the city that we've had to defend. The audit amount, you can see, has gone up considerably, and that's because we have a contract for that. So when you see a big jump in some of these contracted services, it's because we've had to, that's just based on what our amount is that the city council has voted to accept for the contract for the audit. We have had to change our auditor. We had Felch's originally, and the person who did our audit has retired, and they didn't have enough people on staff to take us on, and that's something that has been an issue in a lot of municipalities, even ones like Caribou that always comes back with clean audits, which we always have, which is certainly a tribute to our finance department and everything that they do to make sure that everything is perfect down to the letter. We always have a clean audit with that. There's also an increase with telephones. I think you'll see that in all of our departments. We had to go to a different system this year. Previously, we had GWI. They did not renew our contract. They're no longer doing businesses of our size. We've had to go to OTT. That's like two different systems ago. We are with Consolidated and Fidium. So this has changed what we're paying for internet and phones. We've also, anyone on staff that receives cell phone calls or may look at their email or get texts about work-related matters, we have had them transition to having cell phones because of something that we had come up this year with FOIA requests, and we like for people to be able to keep their personal life and their work life separate so that someone isn't FOIA-ing their phone, and it just opens them up to a lot of drama that's not necessary. For travel and training, this also looks like it's a lot more, and I do have a breakdown for general government if members of the council want to see that. Sometimes we have years that we just can't attend training because of the schedule, because of things going on. Also, when we do go, all of the training is away from here. There's nothing, we can do Zoom sometimes, but we have to maintain our training. We have to maintain certifications for several of the jobs, and that means going down to Augusta or sometimes even farther south for that. And our city clerk has been elected to serve on some boards, so she's got more travel with that as well. For, see, I'm just looking to see which ones are the higher ones here. New equipment, we've had to get a new shredder. We've had to get some new tables for people to work on. Health insurance, as we have talked about already today, that depends a lot on what someone is taking for a plan, and that can change based on who you have working here. And in a lot of cases, we have to kind of plan for the worst. Someone could change during the year. It's unlikely, but it does happen sometimes.
And you mentioned the department's fully staffed, so
Yes.
why would we expect that to change? I mean, how it's not like you have people coming and going, right?
No. I mean,
I guess if somebody went on to a family
has
plan
anybody
versus-
changed their health insurance
well, it's
plan?
it's only February, but I mean, we have had someone in another department who got married, and then we had someone like in another department that got married and went on, their
Interesting.
spouses. So I mean, these
Yeah.
things
Change of
happen,
life.
like
Change of
it's-
life, you could change your plan.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you have children, like that changes the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, those are qualifying events to change.
It's a lot more
but-
expensive, I think,
Well,
for the
that's
family plans.
that's a lot. That's a lot.
Health
I-
insurance you're talking about?
Yeah, because I know health insurance is going up, just
Mhm.
health insurance, and then the plans, the selection of the plans.
Mhm.
This is a really difficult one to
Mhm.
track and to try to do something with, because like you said, you have to plan for the highest,
Mhm.
right? The highest
Well,
tier for everybody.
No, we don't, because
You
we
don't?
actually look at what they have, and so for the most part, that's what they're gonna have, but.
That's what we budget for,
That's
what
what we
they
budget
have.
for, yeah. And then, if someone changes, there might be a little bit in there in case one person changes, but like, I've had the same health insurance plan since I've been here, so I'm not gonna change.
So that, I guess that makes my question all the more, I guess, curious here.
But
So-
people can change at the end of the year, so what we would budget for is what people selected at the end of the year.
Right, so you budgeted for 162, 142 last year.
Mm-hmm. And then our actual was 128.
It was a lot less than what you budgeted, and now
Mhm.
you're asking for 204.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it. I don't see how you could possibly get up that high.
Well, I can tell you that the health insurance did go up 7% last year.
7 or 70?
7%.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
That might be
I'm
worth looking into again.
Yeah,
Just-
sure.
Yeah, I just flag it as something to look
Mhm.
into. It's just, to me, it doesn't make sense. It's way out of where you would expect it to be. And that's a significant chunk of money too,
It is.
42,000. Thanks.
Yep. The next biggest percentage, I mean, of course, we have Social Security's increased as salaries have increased, but also like with vehicle repair and tires. So general government has one vehicle that is paid for by this department, the repairs. It was something that was, that we got from GSA, so it was, there was not a cost when we acquired it. But we do have to have upkeep on the vehicle and the tires, so when, so some years we have to buy tires and then we have to pay to swap tires because we do have, summer tires, winter tires. And we have been told that there are some vehicle repairs that need to be done for both cars. So the other car, you'll see that in Department 22 when we have that. Under contracted services for general government, this was where we had the non-union salary last year. We also sometimes have to hire an HR personnel professional if we have to have any kind of workplace investigations or anything like that. So that's what we had spent the money for from last year, but I don't believe that we'll have quite as much this year as we did last year because we don't have to do the non-union wage study. Any other questions for expenses for general government? And did you want to talk about revenues for general government now, or do you want to talk about revenues later?
I think we can talk about revenues later.
Okay. So is it okay to move on to Department 11, which is economic development?
Sure.
Okay, so for Department 11, so we now have a full-time employee in economic development, which we only had for a part of a year last year. Also, as a city manager, 30% of my salary comes from economic development because I'm required to spend about 30% of my time on economic development. We also have a part-time person out of this, which is Karen Gorman, who works on different grants that we have and other special projects for us. We have had an increase in postage, office supplies. Again, we're not looking at a real high number, but it's a higher percentage, just because since we have a full-time person, we're out there doing more things and sending out more things, trying to get people to participate in different surveys and things that we have going on. We have an increase in mileage and also training and associated lines like meals and lodging, conference trainings, and that's because we now have a full-time employee in there. There are times that I may attend a conference for economic development. I haven't in a couple of years. I've taken most of my trainings for that online. In 25 and 24, I did attend some training, and it's training that Eric will start taking also. And this one should be one that, so this one you'll see that the health insurance has gone down, and this is because, again, 30% of my insurance is paid out of this department, but also our full-time person who changed plans, and so now, because we're basing it on the actual plans, you'll see that it's reduced this time, and those aren't always easy to project. Again, we do a lot of our contracted services. We pay for membership in Northern Maine Development Committee out of this department, the chamber, doing our social media website. If we need technical assistance with our brownfields grants, that's paid out of this. Our riverfront master plan, we have that in here. Downtown infrastructure, when we have to do something in our business district. We have Placer AI, we pay out of here. The business district lights, the city entered into a contract with the volunteer firemen to do the Christmas lights, and so that's something that we are required to pay every year. We have several community events and projects. Caribou Cares About Kids, Thursdays on Sweden Street, new events, Small Business Saturday. Those are paid for out of this department. Slum and blight removal. We have carried an amount in here for land bank in case we can get that started. We also do the facade improvements out of this department also. Does anyone have any questions here?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you explain the trail groomer reserve, what that's used for, and why do we do it in an expense account?
Yep. Because we can expense it from our economic development funds, and so that goes into the reserve the next time we need to buy a new trail groomer. Again, anything that you pay for out of Department 11, Economic Development, it has to go back to those original letters that established the Tax Increment Finance District when it was created. And so when those were created, they had in there that funds from your economic development funds could be used for trail grooming, the groomers, everything like that.
So are those sitting over in a G account?
In a G, they should be in a G account.
Under recreation or under your general government or?
No, I'll have to get back to you on
Okay.
that. I don't know what the G account is.
So the question is, where does this money sit and how much is in that
Yep,
balance?
G account for snowmobile and snow groomer. Okay.
The Groomer Reserve Fund, is that what you're regarding?
Yep,
Yeah.
because we are allowed to expense it from that, and so that doesn't come from like the general taxation funds.
But it feeds some
Yep,
capital
yes,
reserve
exactly.
account
It's in a
somewhere.
reserve account.
Somewhere.
I just can't tell you what the number is.
I didn't see it in the capital account anywhere.
Any other questions on 11?
No.
Just on, blight removal. I think, seems to me the last time I looked at this, that 50,000 was zero. So this must have been updated since then. So we're keeping up with our commitment to spend money on blight
Correct.
removal.
Again, that was-
We spent $50,000 this year,
Yeah,
right?
so what some of that is, when we have acquired, like the power plants and the Bird's Eye, it had back taxes on there, but those are, we have identified those as blighted property. Those, so in an effort to also clean up the title, like we are cleaning up the actual ground, we're paying, from those funds, we are paying, again, because we are generating those in the TIF district, we can use those funds for blight removal to help us offset the costs to clean up the properties and clean up the title to those properties.
Good, thanks.
Yep.
So you're referring to the 405-01 slump blight removal? Is that
Yep.
what-
Yes.
Mhm. So
Okay.
sometimes we have to use those funds for
Yep.
actually tearing down a building, but they, sometimes it's to clean up, old taxes on these buildings too. So that if we get a chance to do something, we don't encounter issues with unpaid taxes.
Would it be possible in the future to move the land bank seed out of that expense and do something similar as you've done with the trail, the groomer, and have it feed a reserve account? Because
Yeah.
that will be a rotating account, unless it would be easier to manage it as a revolving account, an expense account.
I guess the thing is, we just never have set up our land
We're
bank.
getting there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you have it and we start having expenses from it, the smartest thing to do would be, okay, we actually have our land bank authority going. So say we've put 20,000 in there, but maybe we've spent 5, for legal things to get us going. And then you see at the end of the year, okay, well, we're gonna set up a G account so that we can move that other 15 that we've expensed from our economic development department into a G account. So the next year, you would have money for, like, say it's a house that needs to be torn down and the highest and best use for that property is as a house lot, or maybe taking a couple of them and put them together.
Well, most importantly, you don't want it to lapse.
No,
You
because
want to be able to
they
contribute
elapse.
to
yeah.
it yearly from the economic development
Yep.
account and have
Mhm.
it spent out of that reserve as needed
Mhm.
without having to worry about it lapsing at the end of the year.
Correct, yep.
Well, maybe that would be, does that make sense to you,
That
Carl?
doesn't lapse, the enterprise account.
Because they're
don't?
reimbursable.
It just goes back into the, like.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well,
big-
disregard
yeah,
then.
Yeah.
We could do it in just in the revolve, whatever's
But
easy.
if you're gonna try to keep it as land bank, then we'd have to set up a G account, but,
All right, maybe we should look into that.
yeah, we
then.
can look into that.
Okay.
Even if we did find like 5,000 a year until we
Mhm.
get it going.
Yeah,
that way
that's
it's-
right, there's gonna be
it's
some money
building a
there,
little
yeah.
bit.
Yep.
I don't know what the rules are.
Well, we have to have everything spent by the end of when the TIF district is gone. I think we have, in the original downtown, we have maybe 13 years left in that one.
So that wouldn't be a capital, that would just be in a reserve account in the general? general expenses that wouldn't be in the capital?
Right,
Okay.
because we're funding it from the enterprise account. Because we're allowed to do that because of, you know, everything that was set up from when that TIF district was set up.
So you call it like a revolving account within that expense account, as opposed to a capital account?
So I probably can answer on page 29. You have department number 5, economic development. 29. So you'll see the trail silver reserve, that's what 10,000 goes each year. So it's 58,600 in that account.
Oh, it's a different 20, it's just a different page numbering, right?
No.
29,
It's in Carl's finance report.
Oh, it's in his report.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha,
it's in his
gotcha,
report,
gotcha.
yeah.
So we can set up another account, so it's probably 477 would be C10
Okay.
reserve.
All right, whatever makes sense. A thought occurred to me, I didn't want to derail this.
About the 10,000 earlier.
Yeah,
This is where.
I see it now. Thanks.
Feel free to interrupt me, Carl. It's just I don't want to put you on the spot, that's all.
Figured I'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's great.
there it is, right there.
Well, that's good, Penny. That's like, you show an overall reduction of 1.29%. Is that
That's
track?
Probably, and,
Doing well to keep control on expenses.
But
So-
it's an enterprise account.
well, it's just like Carl said, like, those don't lapse like because it's an enterprise account, so so you have all those balances in there because that's where it's generated from. Like when we commit taxes in the summer, I have to give Carl a sheet that tells him how much was generated in each TIF district, what credit enhancements agreements we have in each TIF district, that kind of thing, for him to keep track of. Right. Any other questions? We can have a whole meeting about TIF districts, you know.
Penny, how many more
Maybe
departments do
someday.
you have to go over tonight?
Not real big ones.
Can you hit the highlights,
Yeah.
or should we save them for another night? Because it's 8.
Yeah. I mean, the next meeting is going to be like I'll try to be very quick. And
Just
then-
if there's
yeah.
something that really stands out, otherwise people can ask questions.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we've got a couple of executive sessions.
Yeah. So Department 17 is health and sanitation. We have our health officer and tri-community landfill, which I base my numbers on exactly what they send me. So there's not, that's what they send me. Department 18 is our municipal building here. Again, heating fuel is a big driver, electricity, water, sewer. We also have our janitorial, and we use what we have on our contract with those. Property insurance, that is what it is.
Did electricity go down because of the solar agreement? Is that why it went down? Because electricity's going up everywhere else. So I'm not sure what
so
that was about.
we did start in 2015 with our power purchase agreement through Nordic Sun Energy. So what I did here was kind of go off of what we had from last year and how it started trending after we started having our billing with that.
Okay.
All of these things are an estimate. I don't have a crystal ball, but I do what I can, to do. Any questions on 17 or 18?
No.
Pretty. Tax assessment, so you'll see, tax assessment is also code enforcement. So you have to pay our contract assessor out of here, which is under contracted services. We have one full-time employee. We also have our plumbing inspector, which is a contract employee. Also, but he's paid out of our regular salary line. The reason for the reduction here is if we get a CEO, it'll be mid-year. So last year we changed this in the middle of the year, but I'm just changing it now. So maybe we don't have to change it later. And again, with cell phones, like when we do have a code officer, we're gonna have to get him or her a cell phone. Our health insurance, I tried to base it on a half a year at kind of a middle level plan. They could have a higher plan, could be a lower plan. So that's why you see the reduction here, is because I'm really only thinking that we will probably have someone for part of a year. We do have some significant vehicle repairs that we need to do on the, and also there is money in here for training, because if we get someone, we have to send them to training. I have to keep my certification. There's still a lot of tax assessment and code enforcement that I do in the course of my job, especially assessing, because we do have a contract assessor, which saves us probably $50,000 a year, but that's because there's some things I still do. The next one is going to be protection, which is Department 38, which is basically our streetlights and our hydrant rentals, is how it is on here. Again, streetlights, I don't know. I'm just going off of last year. We cannot use our power purchase agreement for streetlights. The hydrant rent is what I got right from CUD. For the emergency management, last year, most of these lines were cut, so we don't have a lot of expense out of those lines this year. Department 60, which is the airport. Again, we've had the internet and the phone we've had to change up there. Miscellaneous expense, we have found that we have had to use that line because sometimes we have to get, people have dogs, I guess they bring to the airport. We end up with fleas, we have to go get flea dogs. So that's what we pay out of that line.
Can we come back to the emergency management? I mean, I remember last year we made those cuts because nothing was happening. And it didn't make sense to be spending on stipends and expenses for a program that didn't exist. So are we in a position now to reconstitute our emergency management program and start paying somebody a stipend to work on the ops plan and update it from 2014 or something like that? 2021, I think.
No, it was like 2012.
2012,
Yeah,
so
it was quite old. I mean, staff has been doing it. I mean, we've been holding it together. It's not ideal. There's actually a lot more to it than you think there is. Like so I've been doing these things, going to the quarterly Aroostook emergency managers meetings and different trainings. There's a lot of trainings that they have I'm not able to attend just because I have so many things in my schedule as it is. There's also, like, for example, in here you'll see the miscellaneous line went up because we had to have significant work on the generator that's at the rec department. So, and that again was something that was government surplus. And so sometimes, like, when you get these things, they do require a lot of work on them to keep them going. But we have that so that if there was a time that we had a significant prolonged power loss, we would be able to stand up a warming shelter or cooling shelter for people that needed that, and we could run it on a generator. Of course, it doesn't, so the one time we had the big power outage in December of 24, I think it was, if you'll remember, nobody could get to the rec center because one of the poles was down. Yep. So, I mean, those are things you can't plan for, but we do have a generator that works there.
Well, I guess what I'd like to say is that I would like to see Caribou reconstitute a full-up EMS program, emergency management program. And the only reason it's not funded is because nothing was happening for many years. So I don't know where we go from that. I'd like to know whether we have the staff to take on the effort.
Do we tie in with the AMS, or is it
Emergency management.
Yeah.
I will
EMS
say
orders?
that they have been very good to us. I mean, they've been helping us with our emergency operation plan. Darren is so good to keep in touch with us when there's something we need to do. One of the big pushes right now is that communities really need to be putting some money into a reserve account for when we do have some kind of catastrophic emergency management event. Because and I've been to trainings through manager trainings and also tax assessment trainings that also tie back to this in emergency management, that FEMA is just not coming to the rescue on these things.
Well, we had that flooding and stuff too that happened. I mean, I don't know if that would constitute, but I mean, it's just all these different natural disasters and things that are happening everywhere.
Yep.
We're not exempt from that.
No, we're not, but unfortunately, because of our low property values compared to others in the nation and our sparse population compared to other parts of the country that have a very dense population and dense property settlement, for us to be able to hit the minimums to qualify for FEMA, like our whole town would basically have to be like, it's not like when you have like, say, the wildfires or something in California, when you have these very expensive homes that all have a disaster at the same time.
So I guess, let me boil it down again.
Okay.
Do we have somebody on staff that we can pay a stipend to reconstitute our program? And then we can consider go ahead and funding those lines to get this started again?
I mean, I want to tell you, everybody is very busy,
I
but,
know.
you know, I can look into it.
Can you
How about
look
that?
into it? I'm asking you to look
So
into
the
it.
idea a couple years ago was we had a candidate for our code enforcement officer who also had emergency management training. So at that time, it was, okay, we can kind of, because of the person that was hired, they can kind of absorb both of those things, you know. But unfortunately that person left, you know, to pursue other opportunities. But at the time, I thought I was going to be able to have those two things in one person, so.
Okay, so can you check on that?
I can check on
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Yep.
One quick question on that, and going back to the, what was the hydrant cost again? Are we close to 400,000 on that one? Or are we gonna be close?
Let's see.
That wasn't following along
It's,
the right page.
last year, okay, for this year, it's going to be 357,629.
I could find it later, I just wasn't. on the
I mean,
right
for
page.
last year, the actual was 352, 344. So it's 5,000 more.
One thing I had.
So, airport, I think, did we start talking about that?
Yep.
Is everybody
Yep.
good on that one? The trailer park, again, what we have is property insurance and the electricity bill. Last year, I tried to increase what we were paying towards cemeteries for the protection and preservation of veterans' graves, which is actually something that we are required to do in state statute. I have received a letter from Evergreen Cemetery that they would like to increase their appropriation to $5,000 because they have about 500 veterans, so that's like $10 a piece. I don't know what the amount is in other cemeteries. I just happen to know Evergreen because that's where my headstone is, and I'm active on their board of directors. So, I mean, Paul, you might know how many are everywhere, but
It would take me a while to get you the number, but I
Yeah.
can probably chase it down. You want to see that, really?
well, so this is what has happened. So with these cemeteries, unfortunately, we've had some that the caretakers have just come in and dropped their books in Danielle's office and says, yeah, we're done.
Yep.
Because it costs a lot to maintain them. So in Evergreen, every time they cut the grass, it's either $2,200 or $2,300. So when we're giving them $3,000 a year, that cuts the grass once. You have to have it cut like 10 to 12 times a year, you know, and you're not selling a whole lot of plots, thanks to the Veterans Cemetery, which is so nicely kept and they can get buried there for
That's-
free.
Well, there's a couple loopholes there on the funny
Yeah.
side. I mean,
Yeah.
if you accidentally drop it in that cemetery, whatever that is, equipment, benches, chairs, whatever, that now becomes property of the cemetery.
Yeah.
That's an automatic gain.
And that's not the way it is in state law. Everyone's
Yeah.
is responsible for their headstone.
The
So
other-
if there was an account that you wanted to increase, this would be the one, because I know that since I have become more well acquainted with the cemetery over the last year, I've learned a lot about what it takes to keep one. 70 and 80, did you want to talk about those, Carl? Okay. And then we're done, so, unless you want to talk about anything in revenue, and probably Carl might be your best one for that, too.
I think we're gonna cap it after we
Okay.
finish with these two.
Alright, so in Department 70, 158, we did increase the workers' comp, just because we've had a lot of claims over the last few years. We also included paid family medical leave. We budgeted 50,000 last year, and it's based on wages, so we increased that to 60,000. Also, compensated absences, we had a lot of payouts in 2025, and some of those, actually our G account is actually in the negative, so need to get that back into the positive, so we increased that by 15,000. Moving over to page 160 is the unclassified. That one's pretty straightforward. We did increase tax lien costs 1,500 because we had 100 more liens last year than the previous year. We're not talking about revenues then.
No, I don't think so. I mean, revenue
Any questions
is,
on 70 or 80?
No.
How does the tax lien cost, how do those relate back to the economic development, no, is it not economic development, but the blight removal and the economic development funds to support that?
So tax lien costs,
Is there a connection there between those funds?
not really, no. So there is a revenue account that offsets this, so obviously we have the expenses, but then when we collect the back taxes, they're required to pay the tax lien costs, any certified fees that we send them. So we expense it, but then we do have a revenue line that we will, once we collect, I mean, there'll be some that we won't collect, so it will be more of an expense than what we do get for revenue, but
What's involved in that cost? What exactly is that? Are those just filing fees? Or?
filing fees and mail costs. Certified's like almost $10, I think, for sending certified. But again, it goes on their tax account as costs. So,
Okay, thanks.
I mean, if we were doing revenue, I could show you where we collect revenue on Department 10
Okay.
for lien costs, tax lien costs. Anything else?
Thank you.
What do you think?
I like the idea of reinstating
Okay.
the emergency management. Yeah.
We don't have any old business, so we will move on to item number 12, reports and discussion by mayor and council members. I'll start with Councilor Watson.
Just to clarify the cemetery thing, there's a new thing coming up. It's a pain in the ass. Some veterans were told that they would be buried where they fell. And families were not excited about that. So there's a transition program by the VA to move those folks. And I don't know how that will affect local cemeteries, because a lot of folks have expressed a desire to have them moved to the veteran cemetery. And that's not being shouldered payment-wise by the community. It's a one-time good deal, and you'd have to contact Veteran Affairs Office down in Augusta to see how those programs are affect per family. But that does affect the number. And one of the things that we found in doing that program is that we're now bumping into veterans we had not heard of before. And that has become a very scary concept, because where we thought there was 100, we now have 150. Where we thought we had 250, we're close to almost 500. So, you know, it's very dynamic. I can get you some ballpark figures, but that's about as close as I'm gonna get. But we need to keep that in mind, because, and I don't know how we'd even try to track it, because if we say, oh, there's 150 in the cemetery, okay, we're gonna budget for 150, and next week they come in and they move 6, you know, they're not there. Do you know what I mean? That we're spending money on something that's not there. So, I mean, so I'll do the best I can for getting you numbers, but it's gonna be gray at best, and that's all I have.
Counselor, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Well, I wanted to circle back to a question Penny had for us, and we talked about it briefly, but I wanted to bring it up to the rest of the council. A couple of meetings ago, she asked us if, as a council, we had any kind of stance or statement over the Fort Street Bridge project, and I said, can we wait until we get those comments back from the meeting? I'd like us to circle back on that and kind of go to Maine DOT with some kind of a request, formal request or statement about what their plan is right now and how we feel about that plan based on what people in our community have said in those comments. I think it's time to do that. I'm not sure how we go about doing that. I'm sure Penny will point us in the right direction, but that's something that keeps me up at night thinking about that project. And also, when I look at the other projects they have proposed, I'm wondering how they intersect with that project and how that might cause problems with all of our other roads that we have to choose from during that time if
Right.
we can't use that road. So I
think it would be reasonable to think that we could draft something up, and you know, I don't know if you want to draft
think we could stab
something,
at it.
or you know, and then we could at least have something to kind of start going by, and then maybe by next meeting we would even have something we could kind of vote on to say,
Sure.
hey, this is
I'll
what we
send
want to
something
share.
His way, and then she can bounce off that, and we'll figure something out.
Yeah, I think that's a great
Okay.
idea. Deputy Mayor Smith?
My turn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we talked about earlier, we already talked about the capital budget committee, so bring that up. I think there's some email going around, we're getting the tax acquired property committee. I think we'll get together sometime soon.
Yeah, I think that that's
It's
we need to be getting on that. And
one of my 3 priorities this year, and as you mentioned earlier, I'm going to continue to push for it. I'd like to see it on the fall referendum, that we move towards the fiscal year and see what the.
Are you on charter?
No, I'm not.
Who's on charter this year?
I don't.
You are? Okay.
Okay.
Well, I should get on that
I'd
pretty
like
soon.
to see that.
Yeah. I should get on that pretty soon.
How we move to that, I
Yeah.
just want the forward progression towards that. I think it's the right thing to do. We need to get the answer from the voters, and there's a way to do it. The county did it recently, and we need to be online with everyone else. So that's where I'd like to see that go in the November referendum. And then we can, I think there's a way to handle it. I know there's going to be a few, real brief here. How we transition into it would be the next step. There's different ways to do it. So that's, I think I covered everything else.
I think there's just a lot to be said for timing on that with, you know, what we've had to be paying to offset what the county's done, plus with our, you know, rise in taxes. I think there's a time for when it will work, and I think we have to look at numbers and put some numbers on paper to see what that really looks like for the taxpayers.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to see it on referendum for November, but that's my opinion. That's where I want to start.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Well,
Counselor?
I think that there's definitely a lot of moving pieces right now. They all kind of intersect with each other. I think that's how it's supposed to be in a community like ours. And so we do have some things, some meetings that need to happen, and some pieces to work out. I know we need to get charter. That's why I kind of spit that out there, because we need to get something on the books to start working on some of those things. But we can talk.
Including fire truck. Well,
Yeah, including the 5. Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yep.
There's just a lot of things that are all kind of intersecting with budget, with, you know, different movements that we have going forward, but I am excited to see the progress on some of the demolition in person. That was pretty cool. Took my kids down to see that and see some of the proposals that are coming in from all these different agencies that are working together to make our town even better than it already is. So, yeah, that's it. Councilor
Yeah,
Bagley?
just a general commentary. I am really excited about how the budget is going this year. It's going so smoothly, and the department heads have worked so hard to bring us really good budgets, and especially on the capital side, that has completely transformed from previous years, and I think we're in really good shape. I think we're ahead of the game, and I'm really happy about that, because that's been a struggle for the last couple of years.
The only thing I would like to say, and I know Gary's not here anymore, but just really excited for the Mill Pond project to be moving forward, and really excited that we were able to secure a contract to start working on that fishway, because that's what's been holding up this whole project. So it's really, really exciting to hear that that's moving forward. All right, our next meetings, we have a budget workshop on March 9th, and our next regular meeting has now been changed to March 16th.
And we took an official vote on that, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so item 14, our executive sessions. We do have 2 on the schedule. I guess what are the wishes of the council?
Oh. Whoever wants to read that statement, or can we just say
Yeah,
that
I'll do it.
statement's
I'll
read?
move that we go into executive session for union negotiations pursuant to 1 MRSA subsection 405.6.d for fire department union.
Second.
Motion and second, further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Night Fair?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith? Watson?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So this will end the public portion of our meeting for this evening. Thank you very much, and please turn your microphones off.
Yes, sir.